Welcome to the Mesquamaket Beach Podcast, a podcast spotlighting the businesses, newsmakers, events, and memories of Rhode Island's historic Mesquamaket Beach.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Mesquamaket Beach Podcast. I am so excited, truly excited to be coming at you today with the first in our series of Springfest related podcasts. The sun is shining, it's warm, it's over 60 degrees. We are so close. We are inching closer every single day to beach season, which of course opens with Springfest this year, May 10th, 11th, and 12th. I'm so excited. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You guys know the deal. Check out all of the information at MesquamaKetFestival.org. And I am just beyond excited for all of these shows. I've recorded several of these episodes already, and we're probably going to have about 5 or 6 in total to amp up for Springfest, which is under a month away, which is so exciting. Today, our first guests are the headlining act of Springfest 2019, Aztec Two Step. Aztec Two Step is a group that has been around for 47 years. For 47 years, they have just been killing it. An acoustic duo that really rocks, and they were around for such a long time, and Rex Fowler, who is the founding member of the group, one of the founding members of the group, tells us all about it in this episode. It was such a pleasure to talk to him, and they are going to be headlining on Saturday, May 11th, which is going to be Songwriter Night, and that's just going to be really, really awesome. I listened to a bunch of Aztec Two Step yesterday in preparation for the interview that I did with them, and honestly, it was fantastic. And what I really noticed about the music is, the music is going to be great for people who maybe grew up with Aztec Two Step or have known them for a really long time. But if you didn't, if you are a 2019 living millennial who enjoys rock, who enjoys folk, who enjoys, so much of the music that is today. We talked a little bit about the Avett Brothers and the Milk Carton Kids and Mumford & Sons and that style of music. You are going to absolutely love Aztec Two Step. So I promise, check them out. On YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, all of that stuff. And then show up, because that night is going to be awesome. Absolutely awesome. You can check out the Mesquamaket Beach Facebook page and get the discount coupon for Springfest. Bring your friends, bring your family. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have a lot of interviews with a lot of different people, Whole Lot of Heart, John Batdorf, Michael Pettit, the comedian from that we had on the show, friend of the show from last year. He's going to be there hosting Friday night. So many things, acrobatics, just a ton of great stuff. We're going to have a full preview next week, as well as interviews with all of those people. It's so I'm genuinely excited. I'm not trying to just sell you on Springfest. Right now, I am genuinely excited. I couldn't have had more fun in these conversations with these wonderful, wonderful musicians and artists. So check this out. Rex Fowler from Aztec Two Step. Okay, so I'm here with Rex Fowler of Aztec Two Step. Rex, how are you today?
Never better. Thanks, Ben. How about you?
I'm good, thanks. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm really excited that you guys are going to be at Springfest this year. You are the headline act.
That's terrific. That's I was just trying to remember the last time we played Mesquamaket. and I think it was with we did a co-bill with Dave Mason, and he played back then with another acoustic accompanist, much like my partner Neil, who's now retired, and I did. So we were like two acoustic duos, just really going at it. I was really having a lot of fun thinking about how good his accompanist was. And it's a gentleman that has since passed on. I can't think of his name. I should have Googled it before we started this, but he was every bit as good as my partner Neil, and my partner Neil was one of the very, very best acoustic guitar players. So anyway,
well, if you think about it, we'll give it a shout out in the show notes or something. But so tell me a little bit about Aztec Two Step. I mean, I was listening to your music all day today, honestly. And I think that I could. First of all, it's music that I personally love, and that I could listen to all day, and I think that I probably will from now on anyway.
Wow, that's terrific.
Yeah, you guys are fantastic. Now, so you've been around since the 70s, and from what I've read up, you have quite an interesting story. So, can you tell us a little bit about the band? And I read that you guys started at an open mic night in Boston. Is that true?
In Cambridge, yeah, we met. No, I beg your pardon. It was in Boston. I think it was the Sword and the Stone or the Stone Phoenix or something like that. And we were at the Monday night open mic night, and there were a finite number of people that go on. They can't, and Neil and I were the last two, and I had heard him jamming before the thing started, and I was very impressed with his playing, and so he went on just before I did, and then I complimented him on as we passed each other, and going up to the stage, and by that time there was him and me and the guy that was making the coffee. So I think he took pity on me and hung around to hear my set, and we chatted a bit, and I had a few gigs lined up. But the first gig that was lined up was the come to think of it, it was in Cambridge, and it was a church in Cambridge that still is going. They have Sunday afternoon free concerts, and so we got up in front of 200 college kids, and we had practiced a couple of days before that, and I think we did 5 songs, and when I would play by myself and get golf applause, we literally blew the room away. I mean, standing ovation, just people going nuts. After the show, we were surrounded by, 30 college kids that wanted us to play at their school and blah, blah, blah. It was like, oh my gosh. It was totally we were awestruck. And I guess the audience felt the same way. And we went on after that to open for Tim Harden, who played in Woodstock. I didn't even realize that. We just did a 50th anniversary Woodstock show here locally. And some of the people that actually played at Woodstock were there. But anyway, Tim Harden was the first person that we actually, of note that we performed with. And then after that, that was about a month after we played our first gig. And then after that, we moved to Manhattan, where the music industry was back then. It was very hard to get signed to a major label if you weren't in Los Angeles or New York City. And Neil, my partner Neil, was born and raised there, so it was easy enough for him. And we went down there and played open air guitar, open guitar case for quarters and nickels and dimes, and played original music. And we got signed by Jack Holtzman from Elektra Records. Jack Holtzman was the president, the founder of Elektra Records, and he signed the Doors and Judy Collins and Carly Simon and on and on.
And you, so great taste.
Yes, indeed. So that was the beginning, and then somehow we hung in there for 46 plus years or 47 plus years, I forget now. And Neil just retired last year. His wife tragically passed away, and I think it was a tipping point for him. He just felt that he had run out of road. It was time for him to not travel week in and week out, and just kind of live a more quiet, contemplative life. And he's been doing pretty good.
Well, I'm sad to hear the first part of that, but I'm glad to hear the second half. I'm glad that he's doing great, and we're happy to have you on the beach at Springfest. So 47 years, I think you said.
Yeah, I think probably we met in 71, and he retired in 18, so that's 47 years. Yeah.
That is a really long time to be together as a band. Did you guys ever, get on each other's nerves, or was it like or was it just like a brotherhood?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We were a band. Two or more people qualify you as a band.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's the difficult. I mean, we recorded with almost every record we ever made. Original record we ever made was fully produced. From soup to nuts, you name it. And we toured with various people, various conglomerates. It's a quartet, it's a quintet, it's a sextet. But we were the nucleus, and because of that, you don't have a tiebreaker.
Right.
And of course, we're going to have disagreements on all kinds of levels, aesthetically, personally. That's a lot of give and take, but we figured it out. We figured out how to do it, and we enjoyed performing. And our audience stayed with us to the extent that we could, continue on, make a living, and do the creative stuff that was what we had hoped to be able to do. Neither one of us assumed we would ever last that long.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't something you ever thought about.
No, it would be sort of audacious to start it and think we're going to last for 47 years, 47 plus.
Yeah. But, as the anniversaries started rolling, I remember we had a 15th anniversary show with our contemporaries that we played a lot of gigs with colleges, especially with like David Bromberg and Jonathan Edwards and Jesse Winchester, who tragically has passed on as well. And I know I'm leaving a few other people out, Livingston Taylor. So they came and helped us celebrate our 15th. And then next thing you know, it's 20 and then 25 and 35. And it's like, oh my God, this is crazy. Yeah. It's almost dysfunctional when you stay together that
long. And the audience, you guys are known, really for having such a loyal, fan base and a fan base that stuck with you for all of those years. And so I read that there was a documentary made about you guys in the late 90s for PBS. And I was wondering if you could talk to me a little bit about that. I would love to watch that.
Yeah, it's called No Hit Wonder.
Yeah.
And that is another thing that kind of makes us unique, I think. It's one thing to have even one hit, where that's your calling card and, people know that's your song and they'll come out and support you when millions of people, hear that. But what Neil and I had were what they called back in the day turntable hits, which means we got a lot of FM airplay. Back when FM was progressive almost everywhere. In other words, you could get played next to Aretha Franklin and the Doobie Brothers and Ray Charles, and and of course our contemporaries that had a lot of hits, America, the Eagles, Jackson Browne, on and on. So people thought of us as being right there with them. And when we came to their colleges, there'd be a couple of thousand people on any given night, and they were there to hear our songs. They heard them on their college radio station. They heard them on the progressive FM stations, and they assumed that we were, selling millions of records.
Yeah.
And, we were selling hundreds. No, I mean, we, probably over a course of our career, we probably sold 1 million records. But that's, like I said, over 47 years. And I think we had 4 on major labels throughout the 70s, Elektra and RCA. We had 4 albums that came out. And then after that, it was indie labels and DIY labels. And, once we kind of caught up with what the kids were doing, we started making our own records. And so I guess when you look back, all told, we probably, we came close to selling 1 million, if not 1 million. And, but more importantly, it just helped us stay connected with our core following. And, we occasionally pick up a kid or two, like parents play the music for the kids, and they would come to see us, and they'd bring some of their friends. And this is only the second podcast I've ever done. So this is like, this is the kind of stuff that you'd want to try to do. And thank you again for having me on.
Well, thank you for coming on. It means a lot to me. And that story reminds me a lot of a band like Fish, for example, who is a band that they don't have a lot of hits. They don't have a lot of, they've had songs on the radio over the years, but it's mostly just they started out as a band that just college kids wanted to hear, and they played a bunch of colleges, and they just had a huge fan base, and they still do. And that's sort of like when I read the story and saw the no hit wonder thing, that was the first thing that popped in my head. Was it?
Yeah, that's. I mean, in fact, I haven't really, honestly, I don't know their material. I might have heard one song here and there. But my understanding is they're a jam band, and they're good at it.
Right, they are. It's a different. It's a different style of music, but
you might think of the Grateful Dead being. I might make that corollary, because I don't. Well, Grateful Dead, I'm not sure if they had any top 100 singles. They may have. I think that back then it was Billboard, which was that was the top chart in the music industry, had a top 200. Right. And Neil and I made it up to 201. We never got into the top 200.
That's exactly. That sounds exactly like the Dead and Fish.
I think the Dead probably broke the 200, the 100.
I'm sure they did.
Truckin' and stuff like that. So, but I don't know that they ever had a number 1 hit song, but they certainly had. They had 2 or 3 songs. I remember just being blown away by them. Truckin' and don't ask me another one. But there's several songs of theirs I really like, and But yeah, I mean, the fact that Neil and I did this, and the people's perception was that we did have hit songs, and all of that, it just kind of added to the mystique, I guess, if you call it that, the persona, and it really was. I think it would be like you might have walked down in your dorm at college, and the doors are open, and you might have heard somebody playing our album, or some kid, his older sister or brother might have had it and heard it. That's how we built our audience. It was mostly word of mouth, and people were, and I know this because I've been told this by some of our fan bases. they were really proud to discover a band that wasn't being played in heavy rotation on the AM radio, and they thought was just as, equally as good in the genre that we played in. And so that was kind of that's the thing that kind of made us special, I think. The fact that we never did get tremendous amount of, we certainly got some AM airplay, but very limited. We never broke through with the hit, like I said. So
and in a lot of respects, you guys were sort of trailblazers in that vein, because that is what, I would say the majority of the music industry is today.
Yeah, right. I mean, and certainly the genre folk rock has lived on, and continues. The Mumford Brothers, the Avett Brothers, or the Mumford and Sons, and I'm sure there are many, many more that I know I could probably rattle off a few more.
In
a
way, I would consider you guys like reminded me listening today of like a contemporary to you would be like the Milk Carton Kids.
Oh yeah, I heard a lot of people saying they thought we sounded a lot like them. Or they sounded a lot like us. I think they're much more like Simon and Garfunkel. They're much more softer, kind of lilting.
I agree with that.
Yeah, Neil and I are, and Aztec Two Step, we can kick it out. We can kick out the jams. I mean, we weren't, Michael, row your boat ashore. We weren't the real, we were more like the Rolling Stones of folk music, folk rock, because we, our harmonies weren't perfect. We didn't think of every lick as something that needed to be, Neil was just such an extraordinary guitar player, and he just ripped it up. And, I played my chunky rhythm, and we'd sometimes hit a harmony that was right, but it didn't matter if we didn't. And, we'd be out of tune half the time, and it worked just fine for us. I see those guys, what little I know about them, as being much more refined and, much more like Simon and Garfunkel, who were just totally pristine in everything they did,
And in the way you just described, you're like, it's kind of like Simon and Garfunkel meet the Grateful Dead in that way of being able to kick it up and bust it out, and the harmonies that are, the live crowd being the live show being the thing. This is just awesome. This has been an awesome interview. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to get to hear you.
Let me if I could,
yeah,
because
absolutely.
Neil is gone. I don't want people to think that I'm showing up by myself as a solo artist. I'm reunited with a woman that played on one of our records in 1979, and it was our first indie label. And she was married to our producer at the time, and so we met, and we were, we had a nice little chemistry, and she worked great in the studio and threw some harmonies on and played lead guitar on one of the songs, electric guitar. And lo and behold, we bumped into each other at the end of 2017 in August, and we were married last August in 2018. And Dodie Pettit is now the person who replaced Neil Schulman, and she plays acoustic and electric guitar, and electric is really her forte, and she can play. She's the real deal.
That is such a cool story.
Yeah, and she also plays keyboards and sings, and she also had a career on Broadway after I met her. She was an original member of Phantom of the Opera, and she was also performed with Cats prior to that.
Oh wow!
In Broadway, so she brings some panache and some flair to my band, and it's really exciting. And we also we'll be playing with our bassist who plays what they call a double bass. It's like stand up bass, and he plays blues harp, and his name is Muddy Ruse, Stephen Muddy Ruse, And we'll be also performing with a drummer, Peter Homeister, who we've just started working with in the last 6 months. And so we're going out as a quartet. We can kick out the jams, but we can also we'll be doing plenty of our ballads and stuff. So it should be a lot of fun.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's so great.
Thank you.
All right. So, Aztec Two Step, Saturday.
Actually, we're Aztec Two Step 2.0.
All right, Aztec Two Step 2.0, Saturday, May 11th at 9 p.m. The headliners for this year's Springfest. Thank you so much.
And John Battorf is going to play with us, and he was in the great acoustic duo that we were oftentimes compared with Battorf and Rodney. If your listeners out there want to listen to some of their stuff, they might be the closest duo in terms of what we, a funk factor that we had, and the dynamics between two acoustic guitars.
Definitely.
But anyway,
John was on the show last year, and he's going to be on next week as well to promote Springfest. I'll tell him.
I think we're playing together. I think we're going to do a version of Ruby Tuesday at the concert, probably during his set.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, Saturday is songwriter night at Springfest this year, May 11th, 9 p.m. to check out Aztec Two Step 2.0. Thank you so much, Rex.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure, Ben. Thank you. Appreciate. I hope you come say hi if you're going to.
Absolutely. I will be there. You'll probably see me with a camera. And if you want more information, you can check out aztec2step.com.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Awesome.
I will.
All right. Thank you very much, Rex.
Yeah, you take care.
Bye.
For more information on the events and businesses in Mesquamaket Beach, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and at mesquamaket.org.